Okay, if anybody else ends up seeing this, this is not a tutorial. It's just a really quick rundown on somebody else's tutorial to help fill in some blanks because of questions about creating a template to the size you want. So I'm going to go with the harder one because you can simplify it yourself after that. But, wow, my hands are dirty. Sorry, I was just playing in the fire. I just roasted a hot dog for supper. And now I have more shadows again. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Every time I sit down, I have a new set of shadows. It's not too bad. I try to keep my hands out of the way though, because I'm trying to work around where the camera is set up, and I'm crowding myself, I'm afraid. You hear that? That's a frog. Okay. I'll show you what I'm working with here is the picture, European style. I don't know if it's a French picture. I don't even know what they really actually call it. I don't see them in the United States very often, but I see them in a lot of European images. Actually, I do have one that looks similar to this, but it's got a little spout out here, and it's for a garage oil change spout thingy. So you have to determine what size you want your item to be in your dollhouse. And I mean, this is just as easy. You make a bucket, in which case you're just using one section, lampshade, flip it over. Trying to think of what else. I don't know, anything with a tapered. We're just going to look at just the very basic straight edge shapes, forms here. So we were watching a tutorial that showed how to make these pictures, and if you want to know exactly how to make one, everything to do, gluing it together, cutting it apart, either go to I'm having my brain is there will be a couple tutorials by other people. This is just to clarify the template making process for somebody in particular, but if I end up sharing this, then just know that I'm not going to be teaching you how to make this picture. I'm just going to show the process behind creating the template so you can curl cards. Excuse me. So you can cut out a piece of cardstock and curl it, glue it together, and end up with a shape like this. So the first thing you want to do, of course, is figure out what size you want your piece to be. And this is going to be too big just for the sake of clarity. So it shows up on the camera better. And I have no idea what size I just drew here. So let's see what this is, and we'll go from there. I have, we'll call it 1 3/4. I'm going to make a center line. Everything's going to be built off of this center line here. So that should go over to the edge of your paper, because when you cut out the template parts for the body, you're going to need space in this direction. So there's the center line. So I'm going to call this 1.5 inches. And it's from here to here. So I have to come down here a little ways, or I'll run out of room. So I'll go 1.5 inches here. Make a little tick mark here, okay? And the next measurement you're going to want to take for your, here I go again, I do that all the time with these. The next measurement you're going to want to take for your actual piece will be the top of the jug. And we'll call mine here 3/4 of an inch. We're going to need to find the center of 3/4 of an inch. And my ruler, it's actually a hem ruler, so it's not very, so I'm kind of just eyeballing it because I'm used to taking precise measurements with a precise ruler, but that's okay. We're just going kind of iffy here. How's that look? Pretty good? Not too bad. And make a cross. Lightly draw a horizontal line. It's just to mark that is this measurement here. And the 3/4 inch here. Like I said, I'm just eyeballing it here, but these are the points that you're going to need to measure from. So make a nice strong tick mark here. Now we got 1.5 inches that way, so I'm going to go make my mark for that. Is that all it was 1.5? Yep. Okay. I want another mark to go straight across. Making kind of a grid. It just makes things easier to visualize. So this mark here is this here. So we got here to here. We got this measurement and this measurement. And across the bottom, what do we end up with here? 1.5 inches again. So we have a stubby little guy here. So tick here, the center here, and this measurement is the bottom of the vessel here. Now we're going to decide about, I drew the shape on it, but we're just going to level that out to see how far it is from here to here. I'm talking about 1/2 inch there. So 1/2 inch right there. And we're going to make another horizontal line for the pattern. Now you see we have the shape here. There's a long side and a a long side and a short side. And I want that to be about halfway in, so we're talking about 1/4 inch for each part. So I'm going to put in another little line here, just so it'll help. It's not a crucial measurement because you can skip that if you want or whatever. It just helps you in the design process because you're going to draw the shape afterward. So here now we have this measurement and this measurement, but we don't have our shape yet. And the shape is where we end up, things get a little weirder. And I'm not even going to try to explain why. Why, but because I don't even think about it. It's been too many years. But we're going to take this tick and this tick, which corresponds to this and this, and even those two tick marks up, and we want to go all the way to the center line. Just like that. And that sets the shape, that's setting this shape into the template. We'll do the same thing on the other side, make sure everything meets up the same. Why aren't I meeting up the same? I guess I ended up a little bit uneven with my guesstimate there at that other measurement. So we're just going to even it out here. Cross. There. So that's this measurement here. Now we want to do the separate pattern piece for the collar, or the spout, or whatever you want to call it. And that goes at a different angle. I don't know how much bad I'm jiggling the camera here because my table's wobbling, but here we go here. This is a design decision. Like I said, I'm not teaching you how to make a picture. I'm just clarifying how to figure out the lines for the pattern. So this is strictly a design decision, how much you want this to stick out. I'm going to go, it doesn't need as much as you think it might. Just a little bit off vertical looks good. And we're going to make a line from there, and because my pot is kind of short and stubby, I think I'm going to go a little bit further than that. I'm going to go here, I think. But whatever you do, just make sure you go all the way through. This line has to go all the way through, just like these two did. You're doing the same thing, only at a different angle. So I'm going to go right here, I think. So we have our cross here. Oops, I slid out a little bit there. And even though this side is smaller, we're still going to do the exact same thing. We're going to match up. We're going to hit that tick here. Match it up with this line over here. And I'm probably not explaining this well, because like I said, I'm not teaching you how to do this. I'm just helping you interpret what's already out there. So this probably isn't extremely beginner friendly. It's just a demonstration for those who have a little bit of a skill set in already. There are tutorials, and you will find them because I don't have the means to put links up right this minute. But if you found this, it's because you have already seen one of the other tutorials, and I pointed you toward here to help clarify it if you had questions. Okay, so now we have this shape here, and we're just going to draw that just for visuals. I'm trying to get out of the way of the camera a little bit here. I just did it again. I don't know why I'm doing that. I don't usually do it if I'm drawing, but I think because I'm going at weird angles here. Okay, so let me, somewhere here. Okay, I have a colored pencil. If you're having a hard time seeing this as this, I'll make it a little bit easier for you. Here's the collar. This is this. Here's the body. And that's it. Just visualize a handle there in your imagination. Okay, now this is the part where you are going to make your cutting templates. So you already went through the easy part. This is the part where it absolutely gets a little bit confusing. So, we're going to make this template first. And the point is going to go all the way up here at this apex. And I should have did this whole thing down further for sake of demonstration, because I'm up too high on the paper, so I'm going to screw up and run out of space. But that's okay because actually you end up with so much extra space. A lot of extra. Because you're measuring from this to the top of your jug, which is right here. We're going to make a line there. With hopefully see, this compass really is bad. I have good ones packed in a box in the house. I do not have it. I dug all over and I finally found these. I think these are Dollar Tree ones. So you don't need to go to the office supply store or something. You can usually find a very simple, basic compass at one of the dollar stores. Okay. So next, you're going to stay here. But now you're going to bring your pencil point to the bottom of the jug. Your point goes at the apex of the guidelines. Your first half circle here is at the top of the body of the jug. Your second half circle is at the bottom of the body of the jug. And here we go again. Excuse my hand. If I bring this, see if I can slide this out here. Okay. Pretend this is further down on the paper. I have the apex to the bottom of the jug. And I would have had a much bigger arc. And now the point is still at the apex of the guidelines and at the top of the jug. And this is our actual cutting template. It's going to be more than you need. So you're going to cut it. And you're going to have this arc. There we go. And this is going to be for the body of your jug. So now we need this little piece here for your collar. And the measurements here, do I have a piece of tape here? Yeah, I'm going to tape this paper together. No, I'm not, because I have to pull it back up again because of how I ran out of room. Okay, so I'm going to push this right back up here again. And you know, when you're making your actual pattern, just give yourself some more room. Working on this little piece of paper for a big jug is not working that well. Your next, what I do, here it is. Basically, this one you're taking measurements. You're measuring from the bottom of the collar to the measurement for the top of the collar, right there. This one here. You're measuring here to here. Here to here. And it's just a measurement. So you're going to come down here where you have a little space. Put your little pointer in there. Draw your arc. Now you're going to measure again. You're going to measure from here. Excuse me. I think I just screwed up what I was doing. You know, some days I would edit this out, but I just have some pretty basic equipment, and I'm not very good at editing, so I'm just going to leave that in there because I'm human, right? Okay, for the body, we measured from this point. For the collar, we're flipped on everything over, upside down, so we measure from this point. Gosh, Cindy. We're going to measure from here to the bottom edge of the collar, right there. My hand's in your way. We're measuring from this point to the bottom of the collar. It really wasn't that hard. I don't know why I screwed it up. Okay, we're going to make the point in the center, hold that point, and make our arc. And I flipped my doohickey. Now, we're going to still go from that again. This time we are going to the top of the collar. Here to here, we're measuring this area right here. Well, that's where I screwed it up. I was talking about the measurement, and then I measured it instead of going to where I was supposed to go. So the point goes back at the apex down there, or I don't even know if that's the right word. But there we are. We're going to put the point back in the same point where we had it the first time, and there. Gosh, it's not hard. I just make things hard. I make things look harder than they are. But this is how you make sense of all those lines. So this is the collar, and if you just put it like this, you would just have a nice flared top for like a vase or a milk jug or something that's going to have a lid on it or something of that nature. But for this style vase, you're going to want to shape it again. So I'm just going to show what you're going to end up with here for a piece of paper. And both of these are going to be way longer than you need. So when you curl it around, roll it around a pencil, get a curve in it, and then adjust it until you get the bottom at the measurement you want, diameter, which I believe is going to be, you're going to want 1.5 inches diameter for the bottom, roundabout, but you'll get it to about that, and then you'll set it on a piece of paper, glue it down to the piece of paper, and then trim off the excess. Up here, you'll want to take this part and play with curling it and adjusting it until you get it so it sits on there nice and flush. When it does, overlap the ends a little bit. Cut off the excess. And then you'll want to find the center. And you can just fold it over, give it a little pinch, and shape. Do your shape. Like here we did about halfway, a 1/2 inch. So you're going to go up to that and down, and then overlap these two ends and adjust it till it sits on that edge. Nice. And that's your picture. And then you add your handle and all that stuff that would be in the actual real tutorial. If you want to make a bucket, it's the exact same method. You can actually do it upside down like you did here if it makes it easier to think about, or you would just do it. You would do it this way. I can do that really quick. Your bucket you want a bucket maybe like 1 inch high, wash tub, whatever. So say we want the top of the bucket to be 2 inches, which I know. Okay, it's not a bucket, it's a wash tub. How's that? And to the bottom for whatever, 1.5 inches or whatever. Okay. And extend but the edge of the bucket, that's the shape you want it to be, that's the pitch. Same on the other side, you want to make sure you meet the center line. And there's the shape of your bucket right there. So again, you're going to make your template, you're going to go to where the lines meet and measure to the bottom of the bucket. And that's here. So we're going to make a little arc. We're going to go back to that. I lost my point. Where was my point? I can't see good on this paper. Right about here. I did it again. Make note of where that little point is. Okay. So that was from the apex to the bottom of the bucket. Now you're going to want to go to the top of the bucket, up here. Right there. Put your point back again and make the next arc. And there's your bucket. You'll cut it off, twirl it around, round it off with pencil. Make the bottom and top the diameter that you were planning on. Cut off the excess, overlap a little bit to glue, and there's your bucket. And lampshade, go back to this orientation. And that's my way of confusing people even more than they were to begin with. But I hope it's helpful to somebody. And if I could find my button to turn this off. Catch you next time.